The electric car, once hailed as a symbol of a cleaner future, now stands at the center of an unfolding crisis, one that few buyers ever see beneath the sleek lines and silent motors. Beneath the promise of zero-emission driving lies a story of soaring mineral demand, environmental destruction, human rights abuses, and the hollowing out of indigenous lands. This is the paradox of the so-called clean energy revolution. For decades, policymakers and car makers around the world have pushed electric vehicles as the answer to climate change, a path out of fossil fuel dependence. But that promise comes with a steep and often ignored cost. Lithium, cobalt, nickel, and other battery metals must be mined, often under conditions that betray the very ideals electric cars are meant to uphold. By 2023 and into 2024, global demand for lithium, the heart of lithium-ion batteries, has exploded. Estimates suggest that critical minerals needed for EV batteries could increase several-fold by 2030, under current climate scenarios. Yet, planned mining projects are struggling to keep pace, threatening bottlenecks, price spikes, and a scramble for resources. Much of this demand is met far from the showroom floor. In South America's lithium triangle, stretching across Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, more than three-quarters of global lithium reserves lie under some of the driest land on Earth. Mining here isn't just an industrial challenge. It's a cultural and ecological crisis. Massive amounts of water are pumped from scarce aquifers to extract lithium, leaving local ecosystems parched and traditional water sources depleted. Flamingos, livestock, and indigenous communities alike face a shrinking lifeline as water tables drop and wetlands vanish. Indigenous leaders in these regions have repeatedly sounded the alarm. Water scarcity isn't an unfortunate side effect. It's a direct assault on culture, livelihood, and survival. Many high-paying jobs promised by mining companies never materialize for local residents. Instead, most skilled work goes to outsiders, while the indigenous populations are left with degraded lands and precarious, low-paying roles. Lithium isn't the only material raising profound ethical questions. To power today's lithium-ion batteries, another mineral, cobalt, is crucial. More than two-thirds of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. Here, the reality is far from the sanitized narrative of high-tech innovation. Artisanal and industrial mining operations have proliferated to meet soaring global demand. Many are unregulated, unsafe, and rife with child labor, forced labor, and exploitation. In the artisanal mines scattered across the Congolese landscape, children as young as 6 are reported to work long, dangerous hours with crude tools, scraping cobalt-bearing rock from tunnels with little protection. These are not distant rumors. Multiple reports document hazardous conditions, child labor, and deeply entrenched poverty that leaves families with few alternatives. The environmental consequences in the DRC are equally grim. Open-pit mining scars vast swaths of forest and jungle. Land once rich in biodiversity now resembles a moonscape of poisoned rivers, contaminated soil, and eroded wilderness. Acid mine drainage seeps into waterways, turning water unsafe to drink, devastating aquatic life, and making traditional agriculture nearly impossible. Local food security is imperiled, as the very land meant to feed communities is rendered barren. Deforestation accelerates climate change, even as the metals extracted are touted as part of a climate solution elsewhere. It's an irony lost on few but acknowledged by fewer. Across the globe, in places as diverse as northern Portugal and the western United States, another common theme emerges: resistance. Villagers in UNESCO heritage areas in Portugal have risen up against planned lithium mines, fearing irreversible damage to farmland, water supplies, and rural life. In Nevada, indigenous Paiute and Shoshone communities fight against lithium extraction on sacred lands, invoking centuries of displacement and spiritual loss. These struggles reveal a deep contradiction at the heart of the clean energy transition. The narrative of electric cars as an unqualified good obscures the fact that their production displaces environmental harm from wealthy urban consumers to economically marginalized regions, often with little local benefit and profound long-term damage. Corporations and governments have attempted to counter these criticisms with pledges about ethical sourcing, supply chain transparency, and future battery chemistries that reduce or eliminate cobalt. Yet breakthroughs like cobalt-free batteries, such as lithium, iron phosphate, LFP, face technical limitations and slow adoption. Meanwhile, recycling initiatives, while promising, are not yet capable of reducing the upfront mining burden significantly before 2040. The result? A stark paradox. Electric vehicles may reduce tailpipe emissions in cities, but they contribute to emissions, water depletion, and ecological destruction miles from the highways and boulevards where they're celebrated. They may cut fossil fuel reliance, but in doing so, deepen dependence on substances extracted through human suffering and environmental devastation. This is the real legacy of the electric car, not simply a revolution in transportation, but a test of whether our pursuit of green technology can be reconciled with human rights, environmental justice, and respect for the lands and communities who shoulder its hidden costs. If electric cars are to be more than a shallow symbol of progress, then the true costs of their materials, from water to human life, from indigenous lands to polluted rivers, must be acknowledged, confronted, and addressed. Only then can we begin to speak of a transition that is not just cleaner in name, but truly just in practice.